What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with the weekly reset and a couple of updates for Destiny 2, kicking off this week on the 17th of October. So, of course, we're now at mid-season, and that means this week we get a new update to the game. It brings a few sandbox changes, but also ushers in the arrival of Festival of the Cost for the year. So the annual event is back, there's some new rewards, new systems, and of course plenty of microtransaction content, so we'll talk about that. Some other updates for the week. Plus we get all of the activity refreshes, raids, exotic mission rotator, we'll cover featured activities, as well as the primary rewards for the week and everything worth knowing about what's happening in the game. So as always guys, I hope you find this one useful, and if you do, a rating below really helps us out. But without further delay, let's get into it. And so first, as I mentioned, it is the mid-season update this week, and on top of the event, primarily, we get a few sandbox changes. Most of these I've outlined in a previous video, so instead of going over it right here, I'll link that video down below. But of course, I'll keep you posted when we get patch notes if there are any additional things worth knowing about. Otherwise though, the primary component of the content drop this week is the arrival of Festival of the Lost for the year. So, of course, some folks get pretty excited about these events, while others see it as Bungie's cash grab. Let us know what you think down below and whether you're going to plan to jump in this week. But Haunted Sectors will be back as the primary sort of activity for the event, although this time we also get a legend variant of the activity. And on top of all the cosmetics that we'll find in the Eververse store, or the event card, and yes, as far as I know, the Festival armor will be an Eververse purchase, but there's also a new sort of loot system for Festival this year in the form of eerie engrams. So, of course, these will contain Festival of the Lost items, and we have a chance to pick them up on completion of Haunted Sectors, with Legend Haunted Sectors having a higher chance. And we can either just open them for chances at exotic armor or festival weapons, but there will also be the option to focus them. So this can be done at Eva Levante, where we'll be able to focus for exotic armor. And we can see that will cost 1 eerie engram and 2,500 candy. But there'll also be options to focus for randomized festival weapons, which will be 1 engram and 500 candy, or a specific festival weapon, which is 1 engram and 1,000 candy. So if you're still adding any exotics to your collections, or you're looking for stat rolls and things like that, it might be worth focusing for some exotic armor during the event. But otherwise, it gives us a more deterministic way to go for the weapons. But on top of that, Bungie have introduced a new memento for Festival this year, which is literally a black shader that we can apply to a weapon. And Bungie have said the memento will drop randomly from eerie engrams. Otherwise though, many of the festival items for the year will of course come from the Eververse store, and we'll have to see on Tuesday what's featured in there. For the moment, that's the bulk of what we know about Festival and how it's changing this year though, so let us know down below if you plan to dive in, and of course enjoy it if you do. Otherwise though, we've got more seasonal stuff coming up, and the main season quest has concluded of course, but there are still weekly challenges rolling out. So for this week we have Soul Sorcery to defeat combatants anywhere in the system with the damage type that matches your subclass, and we get bonus progress from combatants in Haunted Sectors during Festival of the Lost. But there's also Sun and Moon to defeat combatants with void or solar damage in the Altars of Summoning, Into the Unknown to complete Lost Sectors on Neptune, in Savathun's Throne World or Europa, and Haunted Sectors also grant progress during Festival. Then there's the challenge to acquire any ornament for the seasonal ritual weapon, Moon activities, where we earn progress by completing bounties, patrols, public events, and lost sectors on the moon. Plus there's Eyeing Iron to complete Crucible matches, but you can get bonus progress in Iron Banner. Of course, Iron Banner isn't featured this week, but if you're still hanging on to that challenge in a few weeks when it returns, you can at least get it done then. And the final challenge is Darkest Nightfall to complete any Nightfall strike on hero difficulty or higher. And we can see that one does have an additional Nightfall weapon drop as a reward, so a bit of bonus loot for the week right there. Otherwise though, back onto content, of course we'll get a refresh on all of the raids and things like that, including Crota's End, which is the new raid for this season. And then the weekly exotic mission for the Rotator, this time around, will be Operation Seraph Shield, where we can earn the Revision 0 exotic, as well as Season of the Seraph weapons, like Fire and Forget, Tripwire Canary, Disparity, Path of Least Resistance, the Judgment of Kelgorath and the Retrofit Escapade, plus all of the Ikelos reprised weapons. So still worth farming the activity if you are hunting down any of those. Then on to ritual activities for the Vanguard this week. The Scarlet Keep will be the featured Nightfall, so that'll be an interesting one, and the featured weapon will be the Buzzard Sidearm, but of course we have the Grandmaster catch-up node, and we can also earn adept variants of Nightfall weapons by completing Grandmasters as well. For the Crucible this week, Rift and Momentum Control will be featured, so of course Momentum Control could be good for some farming related to Festival, who knows. And as far as we know, Trials will return at the weekend on Friday's daily reset. But for the featured raid and dungeon activities this week, initially, we've got the Garden of Salvation on the moon, but also the Pit of Heresy dungeon on the moon is featured, and both of these will drop their unique items with updated power relevancy. As we mentioned though, the Eververse store will be populated with festival stuff this week, so I'll keep you posted with that on Tuesday's reset. But for the featured Lost sectors this week, for Tuesday, October 17th, we'll get Extraction dropping exotic chest pieces. Then on the 18th, it'll be Metamorphosis dropping exotic helmets. October 19th will be K1 Revelation dropping exotic legs. That's followed by K1 Communion on the 20th, dropping exotic gauntlets, and K1 Crew Quarters on the 21st, which is dropping exotic chest pieces. Then for October 22nd, we'll see Concealed Void dropping exotic helmets, and finally Bunker E15 on the 23rd, which will be dropping exotic legs. Then over to the Dares of Eternity. On top of the featured rewards for Dares, we get additional world drops consisting of the Scatterhorn armor set and Perfectus armor, plus weapons from Season of the Chosen and a couple of Season of the Worthy world drops as well. But those will be random additional drops at the end of the activity. However, if it's the Ascendant Challenger after this week, we'll be looking at the Keep of Owned Edges, which is found via Harbinger's Seclude. So if you want to know the location for that one, we'll run some gameplay at the end of the video. And otherwise, for the preview part of the weekly reset, that's what we have to round up today. But as always, I'll keep you posted with the patch on Tuesday, the new vendor rewards, and all of the goings on inside of Festival of the Lost. So be sure to keep it locked and loaded right here on the channel, get subscribed and turn on notifications if you want to stay up to date. Hopefully you found the video useful today, and if you have, a rating below really does help us out on the channel. Once again, let us know if you'll be playing Festival of the Lost this week, or any of the updates in the mid-season patch that you're looking forward to. But otherwise, I appreciate you tuning in as always, and I hope you guys have an awesome week.